So that's what we have before lunch. And now then, building strong organizations, lessons from a Nordic corporation. Please welcome Sebastian Haglund from Trygg-Hansa.
Thank you so much, Olivia. I'm Sebastian Haglund. I'm heading Trygg-Hansa's SAK claims department. So that's including motor, housing content, and commercial property claims. And I'm very glad to have gotten the opportunity to discuss this interesting topic with you today. How we try to organize ourselves, be innovative and use new technique in order to stay relevant both to existing and future customers. So I will start off with giving you a brief introduction to our Trygg-Hansa claims business, and then move on to a couple of cases which we think are relevant to this topic. The introduction of Swish and the effect it has had on our customer satisfaction scores, and then also moving on to our volume fraud management setup, which is a good example of Nordic cooperation since it originated from our Trygg claims department in Denmark. And before we round off with Q&A, I will also do some future scouting on areas which we think are interesting to stay close to moving forward. Okay, so introducing the Trygg-Hansa claims business, we are approximately 700 employees and we handle a bit more than 600,000 claims each year. And starting up with the distribution of claims, obviously motor is the greatest area, which is then followed by our property area and PA. The other box is made up by smaller commercial lines of businesses like cargo and tech lines and so forth. The proportion of digital claims are continuously growing, and we have approximately 2/3 of all our claims registrations from IFNOL. And we are working very actively to improve this and simplify the digital channel. And we think there is definitely an upside to this moving forward, both with the introduction of a new CMS, but also, or primarily, through the integration with Guidewire, our new claims handling system that is already implemented for Trygg, both in Denmark and Norway. So yeah, we definitely think that there is a further upside when it comes to steering to the digital channel. The proportion of straight-through processing is also increasing. We have approximately 100,000 claims each year that are handled through a fully automated process, and the rest have some sort of human interaction need along the claims journey. And as some of you might know, this is a strategic objective for Trygg. It's communicated alongside with the financial objectives to the market. So this is obviously a key focus area for us and something we will stay close to in the future as well. Trygg-Hansa, we really try to effectively manage our supply chain and our supplier networks. We have 78% of our addressable spend that are handled through contracted suppliers, and obviously within motor it's an even higher amount of steering. And for the last part of the introduction, just a brief note on the specialist functions. I'll come back to volume fraud management as mentioned, But since the integration with Trygg, we have really expanded our fraud operations. It currently holds a bit more than 50 employees, and they balance traditional field work with desktop and the volume fraud setup. However, there is still a lot to do when it comes to fraud. I guess we all agree on that, both in terms of ways of working and really collaborating across the industry and for us internally within Trygg, and also continuously developing our fraud detection system, Lima, which I know one of my colleagues from our operational analytics team introduced those of you who attended the prior year's Uptech event discussed. Yeah, and I'll come back to it, but AI-based claims processes, they are of a great importance. It's also used in our subrogation team. They have a subrogation AI leads generator called Aurora, but both when it comes to generative AI and when it comes to more traditional machine learning, it's obviously an area that we need to cooperate around, and the structure needs to be upheld from Trygg in order for us to secure scalable development in this area. But like I said, I will come back to that a little bit more later. So one of the a little bit more topics in deep dive then, let's introduce Swish. So for our Nordic colleagues, this is similar to mobile pay in Denmark, and I think it's called Vips in Norway, right? So it's commonly used for online shopping and transactions between individuals, and it's more increasingly accepted as payment methods in supermarkets and in restaurants and so forth. However, it has not really been established as a payout method, especially not in the insurance industry. And we had clear customer insights showing dissatisfaction with traditional payout methods with bank transfers, since it takes several days before the money reaches the customer, right? And as a matter of collaboration and use of best practice, when we were integrated with Trygg, Moderna already had implemented Swish in their claims business, so we had best practice to make use of. And we really thought this was a good opportunity for us to increase customer satisfaction through securing a more immediate payout. And as you can see, we implemented Swish about a year ago. So for each quarter, the amount of Swish payouts has increased. You could probably argue that we're reaching some sort of plateau here, and we might be. We think there is a further upside with around 10% before we have reached the top. But there are some legal limits that stands in the way of a higher amount of Swish payouts. But even more interesting, looking at the customer satisfaction, and in the touchpoint transactions where the Swish or payout is carried out, we can see an even higher degree of customer satisfaction. It's close to 10% difference in those touchpoints. What's even more interesting is that we can also see a big difference in the process customer satisfaction, saying the satisfaction with the entire claims journey, which is obviously what's most important for claims, since that's our major contribution to retention and a more or a better relationship management with our customers. So there's definitely something with this. It says a lot about the payment being a core part of the customer experience when it comes to claims. And to successfully implement Swish, big shout out to my old colleague Jonas, now at ICA Försäkring, who was managing this when he was at Trygg-Hansa. But there was definitely a need for cross-functional collaboration and involvement of expertise and relevant teams when it came to implement this, both from legal, claims governance, and finance, but obviously also the claims business. And we really had to challenge existing processes and adopt new ways of thinking and technical solution in order to match the speed that Swish offers. And at the same time, not compromising with security or quality and so forth. And from an operational standpoint, the employees really like Swish. It's very much easier to handle telephone numbers than it is to handle bank account numbers. And it's also a qualitative measure here. The amount of errors really decreases, which also in turn has a positive effect on the need for quality control. So also from an employee or operational standpoint, this is a positive experience. And I also think there is something that goes to the core with insurance when it comes to payout. Of course, the customer is happier when they get access to the money faster. But I also think this is a way to really decrease the customer vulnerability after a damage, that they get access to the money faster. So there is a positive impact when it comes to the customer security and our mutual long-term relationship as well. Yeah, so moving on to volume fraud management, and as I mentioned earlier, this is a good example of both innovation and Nordic collaboration within Trygg, since this is a Danish origin. Like I mentioned before, Trygg-Hansa have had good progress in recent years by investing more in the fraud area, both by expanding the capacity throughout the fraud field, introducing new ways of working, and also use of new technique from AI. But more traditionally, both field investigations and desktop investigation has been dominating, but these compose a challenge for us since the needed time spent per case is high, and therefore there is also a need for a high average saving. So proof points from Denmark showed that the volume fraud setup enables us to increase more amount of fraud cases and also lower claims demands, which is interesting. And it's due to the setup being way more efficient than the previous parts with desktop. So you could, looking at the VFM setup a little bit more in detail, the volume fraud investigations, they perform similar investigative measures as we do when it comes to desktop, but they differ in approach in such a way that the conversation with the customer is the primary and most important source of the possible fraudulent behavior. When we have identified a suspicion with a claims description from a customer or a receipt, we use an interview with the customer. We call them and we use the interview to judge the truth value. And the major difference compared to traditional fraud is that the customer is provided with a friendly exit opportunity. So they are given the opportunity to walk away from their original claim against Trygg-Hansa. So this obviously demands a certain skill set from the employees and a lot of courage, but we can see that it's very successful. Looking at the first 1,000 cases that was carried out by our fraud management team, we actually had an 80% conversion from booked investigation to saving, which is a really good proof point, of course. And it's also relevant to note that only 5% of the customers have appealed the decision. So we are definitely on to something here. So in summary, the volume fraud case is interesting in such a way that it really shows the positive effects of Nordic collaboration. It's efficient and it enables us to investigate more fraudulent cases with lower claims amounts, and it really puts an emphasis on the customer behavior as a source, which is interesting and an innovative approach. Yes, so a little bit of future scouting then, which is interesting when it comes to claims. Of course, it's hard to not mention AI, and I think the most interesting thing with AI within claims is that there are opportunities all across the claims journey, right? There is definitely something to do when it comes to efficiency benefits in agent assists, but AI can also be used through higher or further sophistication when it comes to fraud, subrogation, leakage detection. We see a potential when it comes to prevention initiative as well, and perhaps also vendor management chains. So yeah, this is something we need to stay close to. However, I think it's also important to note that we also need balanced cases and make clear choices around what's regarded as learning and what's actually business cases that are proven. I can't remember who said it, but it really appealed to me that AI is most likely overrated in the short term, but at the same time most likely underrated in the long term. So that's something we need to understand. I think across the industry today we have quite few cases that are actually creating benefits, so it's important to make sure that's the case in the future. Yeah, the second part here is very close to the discussions that has been made on stage previously today, I think, both from the panel but also from Andreas this morning, and it's the need for continued digitalization. Obviously, we're now meeting a new generation of customers that have lived their entire life with access to social media and self-service, very accessible, and also the point made previously, they are very affected by liquid expectations from other service providers, but also other walks of life. So there is obviously a need for us to become better, faster, and really provide more simpler and better digital solutions. But, and that's a big but, I think, there is also a need to not underestimate the value of interpersonal communication. I think that might be a bigger differentiator in the future than providing digital solutions. But the point is that it really puts emphasis on being good at successively updating our operating models and have a clear omni-channel offer and experience to our customers, both when it comes to interpersonal interactions, but also when it comes to digital interactions, right? For me, who has my primary insurance background from our business areas, both within personal lines and commercial lines, there is definitely something in becoming better at involving claims in commercial initiatives. That point was also made previously today, that a good claims customer experience can definitely be a primary driver of retention. I think we need to challenge ourselves in being very robust and solid when it comes to claims handling on terms and conditions. I think you can take customer lifetime value much more into consideration without compromising with equal treatment principles and so forth. So that's an area we will investigate further, and we think there's definitely something around it. Yes. So that was actually everything from me. So thank you so much for having me and listening to me. And I invite Olivia to the stage here.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. Can you see a specific sign then of which kind of clients that prefer the digital solutions or the interpersonal contact?
That's a very good question. There are definitely patterns, but I think it's very important to note that there is rather a matter of customer errand. We have our largest direct commercial customers onboarded to our MyPages solutions. They want to carry out easy service errands and easy claims errand that way. At the same time, you can have a simple insurance when it comes to private customers that after a large damage, perhaps water damage, or even worse, fire, need an interpersonal contact. So there are patterns of younger generation customer being more demanding when it comes to digital experiences, but at the same time, it's important to note that it's more a matter of the case than anything else. And just on an interesting note there, where we stand now, our private customers that are aged 18 to 25, when we ask them of their preferred channel, the answer is still that they want to call someone. It's still a call center interaction. And you can definitely challenge if that's what they really want, or if it's a result from us not being able to provide a good digital experience. But it's also important to understand that our customers often want to talk with us.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, and I mean, you talked a lot about your collaboration with, Sweden, Norway, and Denmark, and how you use this, Denmark has implemented something, and then you take it on into Sweden. What would you say is the most important for this collaboration between the Nordic countries to actually work?
To actually work, yeah. It is challenging. If we look at the areas where it works, the best, I would say, a good foundation has to be laid when it comes to personal relations with people working with the same areas. I also think there needs to be clear common targets and goals. If you have goal conflicts between countries, no cooperation will ever happen. So harmonization of targets is very, very important, and also not grasping for too much, right? When you have pragmatic, practical cases to discuss, it's easier to find a way forward compared to grand ambitions. So that's I would say that's the most important. Build relations and then have clear cases to discuss with common goals.
Yes, okay. And a question from the audience. You mentioned a lot of positive effects of implementing Swish, but are there any negative effects?
That's a good question also. Not that we have experienced this far. As I mentioned, it has had a good impact on customer experience, both in process and in touch points. The amount of errors has decreased, and we think that we have managed the legal challenges in a good way. Obviously, it took a long time before we were able to implement this. So where we stand now, I think we have lifted every stone. Not that we know of where we stand now.
Well, nice. And last then, Alice asked her panel a question, and it was, what are you doing today in your work that you might laugh about in 5 years? That I maybe will laugh about in 5 years. That's a very good question. Probably a lot. Probably a lot of meetings. Yes. I am prioritizing and attending today that I will look back on and really challenge whether it had a value for Trygg-Hansa and our customers. That's what's top of mind. Yes. Good, cool. And thank you so much.